heat to get me through it all. But let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being so in love, but now the day bleeds into nightfall. Being not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being so in love. I'm going under, and this time I feel there's no other time to. This all and nothing way of loving got me sleeping without you. I need somebody to know, somebody to hear, somebody to have, just to know how it feels. It's easy to say, but it's never the same. I guess I kinda like the way you help me escape. Now the day bleeds into nightfall. Yeah, you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being so in love. And I try to close my eyes, but it hurts sometimes. I fall into your arms. I'll be safe in your soul till I come back around. For now the day bleeds into nightfall. I'm going on during this time. I feel there's no one to save me. This all and nothing really got away, you're driving me crazy. I need somebody to hear, somebody to know, somebody to have, somebody to hold. It's easy to say, but it's never the same. I guess I kinda like the way you numbed all the pain. Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved. I'm going under in this time. I feel there's no one to turn to. This all and nothing way of loving, gonna be sleeping without you. I need somebody to know, somebody to hear, somebody to have, just to know how it feels. It's easy to say, but it's never the same. I guess I kinda like the way you help me escape. Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved. And I try to close my eyes, but it hurts sometimes. I fall into your arms. I'll be safe in the sun till I come back around. For now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you love, but now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you love. I'm going under in this time. I feel there's no one to turn to. This all and nothing way of loving, gonna be sleeping without you. I need somebody to know, somebody to hear, somebody to have, just to know how it feels. It's easy to say, but it's never the same. I guess I kinda like the way you help me escape. Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved. And I try to close my eyes, but it hurts sometimes. I fall into your arms. I'll be safe in the sun till I come back around. For now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you love, but now the day bleeds into nightfall.
only say you love me when we're naked. When you're banging on my bedroom door. You only say you love me when you want me and we're naked. When you're laying on my bathroom floor. Oh, when we do it feels so good. I don't stop you when I should. When we go, it goes so hard. Almost let you break my heart. You only say you love me when we're naked. When you're banging on my bedroom door. Oh.
Oh my God, these feelings just begun. I'm saying things I've never said, doing things I've never done. Oh my God, when I see you I should it right. But I'm frozen in motion and my head tells me to stop. Tells me to stop. Feelings I feel about us. Try to fight it, but it's never enough. My heart is hurting, it's more than a crush. Cause I'm frozen in motion and my head tells me to stop. But my heart goes bum, 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 bum. Cause my heart goes bum, 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 oh my God, can't believe what I've become. I'm thinking things I shouldn't think, singing songs I've never sung. Oh my God, when I see you I should run. But I'm frozen in motion and my head tells me to stop. Tells me to stop. Feelings I feel about us. Try to fight it, but it's never enough. My heart is hurting, it's more than a crush. Cause I'm frozen in motion and my head tells me to stop. But my heart goes bum, 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 bum. Cause my heart goes bum, 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 bum. But my heart goes that's my heart goes. My head and my heart. My head and my heart. I can tell them apart. Can't tell me to run, but I can. Cause my heart goes. That's my heart goes. Oh my God, this feeling's just begun. Saying things I've never said, doing things I've never done. Oh my God, when I see you I should it right. But I'm frozen in motion and my head tells me to stop.
And there we have it. Monday night racing has begun. We are at Spa for a rather interesting race. We've got some interesting names in here this evening. Sitting with the Pro-Am division at the moment, watching Ottens doing his quali lap. So this evening we have McCall, Lewis, Grobler. I saw Rose somewhere along the line in the field, Isherwood, Rautenbach, so some really quick guys. I see Budnik has decided to go for the GT4 this evening. We'll definitely keep an eye on that one. Chris, wish you luck. Fasochi also going in the GT4, deciding he's going to give the ATK, I believe, a chance. Of course, Monday night racing is all about the social. The only points you get in Monday night racing is penalty points, so you've got to keep it clean out there. There is no league. It's just there for fun, for guys to go out there and have a structured race and go and enjoy themselves. So both McCall brothers deciding to stick with the GT3s. They're happy to try and do a fair amount of passing and overtaking of the GT4s, which is what obviously makes this a lot more interesting, having the mix of not just variations in the cars in terms of their capabilities within the same class, but now you've got two completely different classes on the same track, introducing obviously additional traffic, making it interesting. So sitting in pole position at the moment, Junior McCall. No, that might be data from a previous lap, because I see Grobler's got a 2:17. Let's maybe pull it up. Yeah, Grobler definitely dominating the track. 3 purples and a green with a 2:17. 3:31, followed by Lewis on a 2:18. Adam, Isherwood. Oh, going to be interesting to see Adam in a McLaren this evening. Don't know if that's just for fun, or if there's a plan to possibly consider that in the future. Interesting vehicle to toy around with. In fact, it's the only McLaren out on the field. We have 2 BMWs. Don't often get to watch a race with them in. Few Ferraris. Fasachi holding pole position for the GT4s at the moment with a with that ATK of his. Is that an ATK? Maserati. Budnik sporting a Merc. Rather surprising. I would have expected him to have been in the BMW. Nice grey little outfit there. A little bit dirty, might have gone ploughing a little bit somewhere. I'm sure we'll see a fair amount of overtaking on this little stretch this evening. Particularly the GT3 cars trying to get past the GT4s. Well, there's a fair number of overtaking opportunities across the track. Quite enjoy this track. You can get some good speed, some good battles can happen on the track. It's rather tricky. Oh, welcome Shroom. Getting ready for the race, I hope. So that takes us down to 1 minute left of quali. And at the moment, Versage is still holding the pole for GT4. JC Grobler holding pole for the GT3s, still with his 2:17.331. Tariq Adam just over 7/10 above him, sitting in second position. Junior McCall sitting in third. And Brian Lewis sitting in fourth, making up the first two rows of the grid. Fifth coming in Isherwood. Sixth, Ryan Ottens from KKR. Seventh is Stephen Vessel. Eighth, Morgan McCall. Jandre Brits at ninth. Nkube sitting in at 10th. Hall at 11th. Jaco Nordia of KSR sitting at 12th. Richard van Heerden at 13th. Martin Rautenbach at 14th. Justin Lotus sitting at 15th, Ian Upton at 16th, Martin de Beer at 17th, 18th Antonio Ramos, Masters sitting in at 19th in his Porsche, Laureiro, is that how you pronounce that? S. Laureiro, something along those lines, sitting in at 20th. And not long after that is obviously where the GT4 grid starts, and then we've got a couple right at the back that didn't go and put any quali times in. Not sure if they're wanting to play a little back to front row. I have a funny suspicion that might be the attempt. So good luck with that one. Back to front with the GT4. Now that's that takes a pair. So that is it. Quali times are in. There's nothing really across barring. No, I don't think that's going to make too much of a difference. Tariq Adam coming in 3/10 higher. Yep. No, that does. That does. That effectively leaves us with Grobler, Lewis, Tariq Adam, and Junior McCall on the two front rows. It's going to be an interesting first corner and first stretch. Let's hope everyone can keep it clean, have a lacquer race. I think if Junior McCall can hold it through the first couple of corners, he's got the consistency to see it through. And there we go, 30 minutes of Spa on its way. The GT4 and GT3 mix, of course, going to be very interesting. Quite looking forward to that. There we go. Drivers would have been given their 30-second start signal. It's going to be rather interesting to see these GT3s sitting at the back, wanting to get a good start up this hill on the first lap. Should make for some interesting viewing, to say the least. I think this will be the first time I see Tariq Adam in a McLaren, so rather interested to see what performance he's going to put in. We've seen how dominant he can be. Well, the whole upper grid, and again a couple of the guys at the back, obviously sandbagging a little, just wanting to go have a bit of fun out on the track today. No problem with that. That's what Monday Night Racing is for. Just keep it clean. That's the most important thing. Lewis in his 101 Audi. Bit of purple on it. Robler in his Ferrari. Unfortunately, I don't have his livery, it would seem. Should maybe touch base with him. So the guys doing their outlap, getting those tyres a little bit warmer. The brakes. Make sure that the first lap is controlled as possible. Very tough to control these vehicles at the best of times, especially when those tyres are cold. Luckily it's optimum temperature out on the track, so I don't think there's going to be any issues with that. In fact, it's quite warm out on the track, sitting at 33 degrees. I'm sure the GT4s will be very happy that they can warm their tyres up very quickly. I'm sure they don't want to be hunted down for too long by the GT3 packs. Oh, I have a bit of surfing again this evening. Again, there's a bit of a disclaimer. I'm transmitting this from a mobile connection down here in Mossel Bay. Gotta love technology. Gives you the flexibility to do things remote, but yeah, also introduces a little bit of risk in streaming quality. Next week should be back in Joburg, back on the Faber, but I think then I'll be hopefully streaming one of these races from inside the rig as opposed to broadcasting. Rather miss these sessions. as the guys start etching closer to the final corners and up to the starting line. And a huge push is going to happen down obviously the first straight down that mine shaft. Going to have to try and keep a close eye across the field. Oh, a little bit of surfing, nothing wrong. Just hoping the connection will hold itself strong enough so that we can get some kind of visibility out of the race and some kind of enjoyment. And we are off. No, last little push. Getting closer to that starting line. And that's it, and the guys are off. So let's hope the first little stretch here and corner, they're going to hug through 2 by 2. Couple of 3 by 3 there possibly, making it through fairly clean. Not sure what it looks like at the back of the order. Seems like we have a clean start. Seems like everyone might have made it. Don't see too many shifts, although the leaderboard does normally lag a bit. But it seems like we're off to a clean start. Two hours this evening of Spa. A lot of battling to happen this evening. Lots of tyre management. Lots of speed management strategies coming in with the GT4s in the mix. Hall in his Aston Martin. Oh, sorry, Lotus. Hall sitting in 11th, of course, in his Bentley 646. We have some really close racing sitting up front, with the majority of the guys sitting within 3/10 of each other. Guys can just maintain, keep it cool for the first lap, get those tyres nice and warmed, then they can really start putting on some good battles and some good defending. This is a fantastic track to do that. Some nice, real quick corners. We go to the top of the order. Grobler still holding first position. Lewis right behind him. 5/10, just shy of 6/10. We'll have to keep an eye on that one, see how that one progresses, see if he gets any closer, if he starts pulling away from Lewis. McCall sitting in at third position, going side by side. Oh. Coming through the corners, alright, no contact. McCall holding it. Again, Junior McCall, one of those with a serious racing career ahead of him. At his age, to put in these types of performances. Junior McCall with Vessels right behind him. His blue Ferrari. Guys coming through that final chicane there. Nice and tight, keeping their lines. Nicely done. Morgan McCall sitting in 6th position, right behind Isherwood. Grobler and Lewis, of course, seem to be pulling away from the pack slightly with a bit of almost a 3-second gap before McCall. Junior McCall, that is. Tariq Adam and his McLaren sitting right behind McCall. Oh, and was that Lewis that we have just passed there? Yeah, it looks like Lewis had dropped down. Not quite sure what had happened there. Unfortunately, the broadcast app is not playing nice, so I'm not going to attempt to do a rewind. So that means Grobler is going to start creating a healthy lead in front there, as he's almost 4 seconds, it's 3.6 seconds ahead of McCall. But it's early days, there's still an hour and 54 minutes to go. So we can't look into anything too early. The guys need to maintain their consistency. I think Rowe might be an interesting to watch. Coming right at the back with his GT4. He has 2 hours to do what he needs to do. Brits in 7th place with his Aston Martin. Lovely colours. Looks like a Ferrari undercover. Kube sitting in 8th position at the moment with his Audi, with his golden tint. Racing for, I believe that's Casas. Lovely view. Nordia driving a Lexus, sitting in 11th position, driving for KSR. Sitting quite comfortably behind Van Heerden, no real pressure there at the moment. Rautenbach in his orange Ferrari, number 465, with Hall right behind him in his Bentley. It'll be interesting to see how these Bentleys hold out this evening. Something that you'd normally see the likes of Daniel Rowe driving. black and white Porsche of Lorero. A. Ramos sitting in 15th position in his Lexus 242. With Hendricks and front collar, and now we're going in side by side as they get ready to go down the mine shaft. Front collar getting the better of Hendricks there. Just needs to hold it up. And he maintains some good speed, some good exit speed out there. Of course, Hendricks still holding him in the distance, making sure he doesn't get too far. Front collar now pulling a little bit away from Hendricks. Hendricks has some work to do. Bottas sitting in 36th position, sitting behind a fair amount of the GT4 still. Has an interesting evening ahead of him in his 243 Bentley. I'd be interested to know if there might be a bet on here between some of the drivers as to who can do what in which vehicles and who can even outshine some of the GT3 guys with their GT4s. I'll definitely put some money on Budnik to sneak it ahead of at least a few GT3 cars. Favo in his 47 McLaren sitting in 37th position at the moment. Might be struggling to keep it on track. Perhaps trying to get past some back markers. Some of the slower GT4s might have caused some issues. No, a little bit of an overshoot there, missed his braking zone. So just out of the GT4s, Versace still holding first position with Sheehan in second, Rowe in third position, Reinecke in fourth, Piens in fifth, Pitters in sixth, File in seventh, Gray in eighth, Kraus in ninth, Hards in 10th, Budnik in 11th position, and Ferreira in 12th at the moment. So that's the current standings for the GT4 cars out on the track today. Two McLarens right after each other, one being a GT3 yeah, nice little livery there. I think that's the same as Baldwin's. Yeah, it's that exact same livery. Oh goodness, hadn't been told by anyone, but it looks like we're missing a bit of the race. Let me rather make this a bit bigger. Transition back. Oh, there we go, we can transition that one. Apologies for that. It looked like we had a little small screen there. Now you can see it full HD end to end. Instant upgrade on your subscription. So we bring up our leaderboard again. We're sitting with Grobler, sitting in 19th place. Pretty much behind him is a GT4 pack, so I don't think he'll be getting too much pressure from that pack anytime soon. Junior McCall sitting in the pits. Not sure if he's retiring, but it looks like he's just sitting there. Perhaps he needed to take an emergency call, same as Marais. Visagie being the leader of the GT4 pack. An interesting little pink and blue display. Sheehan pretty close behind him in his BMW. No, that's Rain Masters. Just looking at the wrong order on the leaderboard. Shouldn't take too long before he gets an opportunity to overtake, and this should be it. Although I'm sure Visagie doesn't like giving a position away, even though it is to a slightly quicker vehicle, as he tries to take advantage of that slipstream, try and stay as close to that Porsche for as long as possible, as it slingshots him through the chicanes, the S-bends. There's the elusive Sheehan we mentioned earlier in his BMW. Number 46. Daniel Rowe in the GT4 McLaren, racing for Hybrid Academy. The winning team of the Race Phase Pro Season 5, which happened last week Thursday. Some fantastic drivers in that team. And miracles do happen. I have my broadcaster app again. Okay, hopefully our transitions and switches around in the field can be a little bit smoother now. We can start monitoring some of these battles a little bit closer. I think let's first and foremost go and... No. It fooled me, it seems. It's giving me the data, but not able to do anything inside it. So possibly just need to leave it to do what it needs to do for now. Yep, there we go. We have Grobler in a livery that I unfortunately cannot see. Sitting quite comfortably in the front. Vessel sitting 6.3 seconds behind him. So I'm sure he'd want to try and extend that lead as quickly as possible. Try and get past these back markers. As he has a few, of course, in front of him. Few GT4s that he's got to contend with. Obviously that's what adds spice to these types of races. Ooh, drive through coming for Rowe. Track limits. Struggling to keep the car on track a bit there, trying to get the most out of it. I'm sure if there's one thing we learned from Sunday's Formula 1 race is try and keep it on track. Keep the racing between the two white lines, else you'll get in trouble. Seems to be a bit of a delay again, trying to switch cars on the broadcaster app, not working so well yet again. But that is alright. We will go manual. Bring up that timing sheet for us. I think that's probably going to be the best for us to monitor where these little battles are happening. Have another drive-through penalty there for Ferreira. 2 GT4 cars with drive-throughs, and this is probably the worst track to have a drive-through penalty. You basically have to tour the countryside just to get from one side of the pit stop to the other. As I'll give this broadcaster app another attempt here to select between guys. No. No. Just doesn't want to behave, does it? Grobler sitting in, Jay Grobler that is, sitting in 16th position in his McLaren, the GT3 version. Definitely the version I would prefer to be in an evening like this. Upton in 15th position in his Porsche. Big gap between himself and Ramos in his Lexus, with a 14.5 second stretch to go before even thinking of trying to make a move. So he's pretty much out there doing his thing. His best being 2:21.882. If the guys can maintain that pace, that is a a rather neat race pace. Oh, as he goes down the hill, overtakes the GT4. Not too much of a problem. Budnik trying to hold off the McLaren. Oh, going a little bit wide. Going out of the limits there a bit. McLaren getting past neatly. So GT3 car is getting past rather comfortably. It's also part of the challenge, trying to make sure you maintain your consistency, maintaining your lines, making sure that people are able to pass you safely, and of course the GT3 cars sometimes having to show a little bit of composure. Budnik currently 10.6 seconds behind his closest GT4 rival in the BMW, which is Kraus, sitting in 25th position at the moment. Budnik in 26th. As we get closer to the hour-and-a-half mark, temperatures dropping slightly on the track, not too much, still quite early in the afternoon, so shouldn't see too much temperature drop out in the track. Shouldn't be too much of an issue with those tires. Buerta and his Bentley sitting right behind Budnik. One of those moments again where composure needs to be shown. Wait for the right moments and then do the necessary move. Luckily, when it comes to the GT3 and GT4 class, basically every straight is an overtaking opportunity. Hard sitting in 24th position at the moment in his AMG. Team Hards Racing. Oh, as we see Hards pulling into the pits. Possibly a tyre change. Masters coming up towards pit lane. It continuing. Lewis sitting in 18th position, having dropped back significantly. So something must have happened there that we've unfortunately missed. Grobler now holding a 5.5 second lead over Wessels. Both of them sporting Ferraris. Morgan McCall in 3rd position with his AMG. Isherwood in 4th position in his Aston. Oh, no. No. Looks like those two have just changed over. Isherwood sitting on the side. Not sure what exactly had happened there. Maybe a slight little spin out. But it seems like he has just overtaken McCall. I won't lie, trying to jump to people without the broadcaster working properly is proving to be challenging. Yeah, and they decided to just down me altogether. Not a problem, I'll just restart it. Lotus sitting in 7th position, number 69. One of my favorite numbers. Lovely looking livery there. And Kube sitting in at 5th position, so he's seems to be having a fairly good race. And I was trying to get up to him, but this thing decided to throw me down to Visagie. Rautenbach with a bit of work to do, sitting 7.2 seconds behind Brits. And quite a gap being created by the front of the pack. As we see, Grobler still maintaining that 5.5 second lead over Wessels, sitting in 2nd position. Isherwood sitting in 3rd, close on to 10 seconds behind Wessels. Kube in turn sitting in 4th position, 13.5 seconds behind Isherwood. So quite a big gap being created there by the front 3 drivers. 2 Ferraris and an Aston in that mix. Oh, as they come in right behind each other up the hill. The GT3 showing what speed is all about as the GT4 tries to tug behind. As we bring up that track map, just to have a look at what that spread is. So a fair amount of little blue dots, meaning the GT4s spread across the track. And of course the GT3s trying to battle it out in between. Visagie still the leader, of course, for that GT4 little grouping. Need to flick through manually to get to the right option here, as the broadcaster does want to play nice. I think I might have mentioned it, but I think I might need to have a chat with Eddie, see if we can sort this out, because it seems to be generally on the Monday night servers. Well, as we go through the pack, the order, Lotus sitting in at 7th, Nordea sitting in at 8th. Some nice pressure being placed here by Van Coller, who's now sitting in at 9th position. Coming through there quite nicely, maintaining that striking distance, so to speak, 2/10. If he can do a bit of an outside inside, oh, okay, and possibly on the outside again. No. Well, I can guarantee you he's going to want this Bentley to stretch its legs down this hill. They're fairly hardy on curbs, so should be able to maintain it nicely through here. The Lexus, of course, also nice and sturdy. Both maintaining it nicely through there. Unfortunately, Van Coller falling back a bit. A few car lengths. Nordea now putting some pressure on Lotus, as the three of them maintain pressure amongst each other. Van Coller, I'm sure, is hoping that something happens between Nordea and Lotus in one of these bends, so he can take full advantage of that. Well, as Van Coller decides to extend over the track limits, I don't think he gained any time there, but some of these corners are pretty tough to try and stay in those lines. As he decides to come down the inside, is he going to try and push through? Outside, inside? No. Lotus decides he's going to close that door. He's not going to allow Van Coller to squeeze his nose in and try and gain at least half or 3/4 length across him. Otherwise, he's definitely not going to be able to maintain a gap to pull away again. He's going to have to hold him behind him. Van Coller starts getting alongside him in the corners, there might be a problem. Van Coller still maintaining that close distance. Pretty much the same gap as it was in the previous round. Again, perhaps an outside inside, or just maintain outside. No, he decides he's going to now cut the inside. Nicely done. It was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. Nordea, of course, I'm sure is going to want to try and stay as close as possible. Try and pull a similar maneuver back on Van Coller when he gets the opportunity. Oh, and the first straight we have, he decides to see if he can push on that. No, a little bit too far to have any kind of bearing on that corner. As we move up the pack, Rautenbach sitting in 6th position, 5.6 seconds behind Brits, and 7.2 seconds ahead of Lotus. Brits sitting fairly close to Nkube, not quite within striking distance, but I'm sure he's going to try and reel him in over the next couple of laps. And Nkube, of course, sitting a fair distance behind Isherwood, holding 4th position at the moment, as we head down to the 1 hour 20 mark. You see a few guys in pits. Upton and C. Peterser of Simtech Racing. Oh, have a drive-through penalty for Fial. Not quite sure how to pronounce that. In his GT4. Again, this is definitely not a track that you want to be doing, getting drive-through penalties. Takes an hour to get from one end to the other. Isherwood, 12.1 seconds behind Vessels. No, and it decided to... yeah. Vessels sitting in second position. Just close on to 7 seconds behind Grobler. Grobler, of course, the one that we're viewing, sitting in the lead. Seven seconds with this amount of time to go. Anything can happen. One little spin out, one little lapse of concentration, of course, could be the end of it. Masters sitting in front of Grobler as he tries to get past. Masters been blue flagged a few times, but of course there's no F1 rules here where he has to jump out of the way. But I'm sure Grobler will find an opportunity. Yeah, coming in on the inside. Is Masters going to allow it? Is he going to give him the space? Yeah, there we go. Grobler through safely. As he starts working his way through the back of the pack. Well, I wouldn't say start. Looks like he's a few cars up already through the back of the pack. We have quite a few pit stops happening. Junior McCall, of course, having gotten pitted some time ago. Actually, not sure how many. He did 5 laps of the race. Vessel sitting in second place. His best lap time being a 2:18.849. Isherwood sitting in third position. Fairly similar race pace, sitting up front between our leaders, sitting around the 2:20 mark. Which is even below my best lap time by a few seconds. Isherwood putting in another 220 lap, sitting on a 221.78. Again, nice and consistent. And Kube coming through and putting in a lap time of 220.955. So also sitting around about that 220 mark. Be great to see him get a result tonight. Right behind him, of course, is Brits, ensuring that he's keeping that that air between them nice and small, or that distance. Again, the slightest little slip by Kube and it could be over. Give that position over to Brits. Unfortunately, in racing, half of it is hoping for your competitors' misfortunes. Oh, car 912 disqualified for driving the wrong way. Not quite sure who that was. Lorero. Yeah, unfortunate. Rautenbach also putting in those 220s. Last lap was 226.01. This lap putting in a 219.875, which is in fact his best lap. So perhaps he's warming up a little to the conditions. We're going to see quite a couple of pit stops happening as we get closer to the halfway mark. We've actually seen quite a few already go through. Of course, this Porsche being disqualified, driving in the wrong direction. Kraus in his BMW GT4. Sitting in at 23rd at the moment. 22nd, according to a little display on his windscreen. But of course the leaderboard telling us something different. As we get onto his bonnet and see how the BMW comes in through these corners. Sitting with the GT3 McLaren behind him in the form of Grobler. Gets past nice and comfortably. Murray now coming behind in the Audi. Should also quite comfortably get past without any issue. Fortunately in the livery I do not have. Of course, just behind Kraus now is another GT4 car in foul. In fact, another BMW. Just a fair distance behind him, 3.5 seconds. Robert File of Tilted Noobs. Pittiser from Simtech Racing in the familiar Audi. His last lap being his best one at a 220.7. 756 I believe it was. Also fairly close to that race pace. It seems like that was his best lap. Buerta sitting in at 27th. T. Adam right behind him, who's sitting in 16th position at the moment in his McLaren. Lewis in 13th. Favo in his McLaren, number 47. Being blue flagged, his best being a 223, and last one being a 225. Of course, Grobler sitting right behind him. Being able to keep it through the corners, but Grobler definitely coming out with more exit speed out of that one as they come into the next right-hander. We see Grobler comfortably going past Favo as Favo tries to slipstream a little, try and perhaps learn a thing or two from Grobler's driving lines. Grobler putting in a stunning performance. His race pace, of course, below their 220 mark. Hards sitting in 28th at the moment in his AMG GT4. Kraus just having done a 239.174 in his GT4 BMW. Rowe in his McLaren number 6, his last lap being a 235.502. His best, of course, being a 233.450. I'm sure it's been an interesting journey for him, trying to adapt to the GT4s. Yep. Being able to hold it as he slides through that last corner. Hervé Marais in his Audi. Best today was a 221.054. Race pace, I Unfortunately, a little bit higher than those in the front of the pack, with close on to a 223.5. Lotus busy going through the 5-mile pit stop. Jay Grobler in his McLaren, number 23, sitting in 9th position at the moment. Grobler looking to take any opportunity he can, with Ramos sitting in front of him in a Lexus. I'm sure he'd want to try and get a little bit closer. Ramos for DHL Lexus Racing. His best time being a 220.787. Oh, as we see another pit stop. Rautenbach is in the pits. Van Heerden in his Bentley, sitting in 15th position, is now doing a quick pit stop. Doing all he needs to do to get out and try and get some additional laps out there. Ramos now coming to some GT4 traffic. I don't think it should be a problem for either one of himself or Grobler to get past fairly quickly without incident. Obviously not a problem. And off they go. Coming close on to an hour remaining. Ian Upton sitting in 14th position in his Porsche. Hall sitting in 6th position with his Bentley. Von Koller in 5th position with his 222 Bentley, racing for Retro Neon. Brits in 4th position. Third, it seems. Might have been a slight delay there with this leaderboard. Or is no. Oh, Vessels is in the pits. There we go. So as he went past those pits, that's of course when it jumped. Not sure if Brits has been in as yet. Oh. As Brits and Visagie battle it out through a corner, side by side. Of course, the GT3 always going to come out on top. It's nice and clean at least.
We are halfway through, not over yet.
Oh, we have a stop and go for Kraus in number 8. Might have been speeding in the pits, a little bit of impatience might have crept in there. Who knows? Visagie in his pink and blue 404. So less than an hour to go. Track temperature still holding up. Not too many incidents on track this evening. Kube now sitting in first position. In his Audi, with Brit sitting in second, Van Coller third, Grobler fourth, Wessels fifth. So either there was some positioning around pit stop strategies, and Kube just hasn't pitted yet, but either which way, he is now in the lead. Lewis sitting in 8th position, he's sitting in the pits in his 101 Audi. Ah, there we go, and Kube then jumps into the pits, which should see another shuffle. Murray with File behind him, who seems to have just taken a little bit of a detour out the side there with his beer. Number of guys sitting in the pit stops. Rowe, Versace, Masters, Lewis. They were all in at the same time. Interesting. As I think they generally sit on the same Discord channel together. So perhaps they gave each other some tips there. Upton in 13th position. Grobler still sitting in the lead with a fairly healthy gap between himself and Wessels, 18.1 seconds. With Nkube behind him in third. Just coming out of the pit stops. Brits as well. Isherwood now slotting into third position, going past the pits and obviously passing Brits and Nkube. So Nkube now slotting, falling further back as Rautenbach also goes up a slot into fourth position. Nkube now not quite sure how far he is out the pits, but it generally takes some time to get out there. No, he's back on track, so he's officially then in fifth position with Rautenbach in front of him. In fourth, Isherwood in third, Wessels in second, and of course Grobler still holding that spot on top. Tariq Adam and his McLaren sitting in 15th position. Rowe sitting in 23rd in his GT4 McLaren. Rautenbach, of course, in fourth with a fair lead ahead of Nkube of 13 seconds. D. Peters sitting right at the back of the field with his little Chevy GT4. Masters, Kyle, Nkube, Brits, Gray. Would seem as if slotting through, trying to find Budnik. Not sure. No, I believe he may have retired. Perhaps in early morning. Who knows? As I try one more time to get my broadcaster app to work. No, and I'm sure I have said one last time quite a couple of times. I'm sure I'll say it a few more. Well, let's make do. Wessels sitting 19, almost 20 seconds behind Grobler. So a fair amount of work to be done there. Kraus sitting in 27th position with his GT4 BMW. Isherwood sitting with Adam right behind him. Yeah. Wanting to unlap himself somewhat. A little bit of GT4 traffic. Tariq Adam making his way past some more GT4 traffic. As we have Jason Gray in his grey Porsche. Rather nice to see some of these cars out on track. Rautenbach, much further up the order, sitting in 4th position, just having done a lap of 2:20.106, as he overtakes that little grey Porsche. Visagie still maintaining that lead of the GT4 pack, the GT4 class, with Rowe in 2nd position. I'm sure Mr. Pitterser would like to get ahead of some of these GT4s. As Visagie comes through with his Maserati. Well, as he has the Audi, take him on the outside. Murray trying to make sure he doesn't have too many GT4s ahead of him on the track. Grobler now, of course, gaining on Visagie. 3.4 second gap and diminishing quite quickly. Oh, making a little bit of contact there. Visagie closing the door a little bit too quick. No harm, no foul. Grobler is off again, hopefully without too much damage to that front left nose, but didn't look like it was anything too harsh. As Visagie now has Upton behind him, he goes wide. Upton, of course, going to get speed a lot quicker. Visagie trying to drag behind him a bit. Race pace generally for the GT3s now sitting in the lower 220s. The GT4s sitting in the 230s. Well, Visagie sitting in about 232. I think the average of the GT4s you're looking at about a 233. So at least a 13-second difference in terms of averages in race pace around Spa between the GT3s and the GT4s. Van Coller having dropped back a couple of positions. Sitting in 7th for Retro Neon. Van Coller coming up to a little bit of traffic. Jason Gray in his grey Porsche gets past him fairly comfortably. Five tenths down at the moment is Van Coller on his previous lap. Of course, having sat behind a little bit of traffic, that could do that to you. Tariq Adams sitting in the pits, sitting now in 14th position. As we go ahead and bring up that timetable, then leaderboard. Grobler with a fairly comfortable lead at the moment as we head into just below 40 minutes. Of course, Grobler on top, Wessels in second, Isherwood in third, Rautenbach in fourth, and Kube in fifth, Brits in sixth, Van Coller in seventh, Nordia in eighth, Hall in ninth. And the other Jay Grobler in 10th. Yep, need to quickly cycle through that manually. Lewis sitting in 16th position at the moment. Seems like he had a slight little tumble from the top. Tariq Adam sitting just behind Rautenbach, I believe. Is it? Yeah. Want to unlap himself. The last lap being a 4:38. Might have been a pit stop involved there as well. Adam, of course, sitting in 14th position at the moment, with Lewis right behind him in his Audi, 6 seconds behind. So the two of them struggling somewhat this evening. Could be a combination of a couple of things, including getting used to the vehicle that you don't normally race in. Oh, there we go. Adam having overtaken Rautenbach. Well, I'm not sure how many laps behind. No, Adam being 3 laps behind the leader, going past a little bit of GT4 traffic, a couple of BMs in the way there. Von Koller now sitting in 5th position. So having made it past a few as he worked his way back up. We get closer to the 30-minute mark. Perhaps we should go and have a look and see how's old Mr. Versace doing. Possibly do a bit of an onboard view for a bit. See how he manages around the track with his GT4 as he still leads that pack with Rowe behind him. Of course there's a GT3 car that is a spacer between himself and Rowe. And that gap, rather substantial, 18 seconds. Saki still holding the lead with 27 minutes and 20 seconds to go. As we just saw Fasaki, who's the leading driver for the GT4 pack, going around from the cockpit view. I thought let's see how the leading driver for the GT3 division is faring around the track. Fasaki having just done a 2:19.176, or sorry, Grobler that is. So maintaining that race pace of below 2:20. Fasaki having done a 2:31.9 his last lap. So still maintaining a low 2:30s around the lap, around the track. Kubi having a fairly slower lap, down almost 9 seconds. So he drops down to 6th position, with Van Coller going to 5th. No, Van Coller was in 5th just now. I think Kubi might have fallen back further down the grid. Van Coller in fact was 2/10 up on that lap, but dropping back down to square. No, it's the broadcast app that's doing its shenanigans. So 40 laps having been completed. This shall be the 41st as we head down to 23 minutes left of this race at Spa, Monday night racing. Not sure how many incidents will have to be reviewed, but I suppose we'll see tomorrow night what comes of it. Ramos in 10th position, chasing down the leader, which means he's at least a lap down. Well, in fact, Grobler and Wessels have lapped Isherwood. No, no. Completely misread that. Buerta sitting in 16th position in his Bentley. Well, just able to hold it. Got a drive-through penalty coming through for D Hall, which drive-through in this very long pit could equal 15 seconds or more, I would imagine. Well, I suppose we can keep an eye on it and see what it is. But this pit stop is definitely not a pit stop you'd want to be in. Okay, so we'll have to manually get to Mr. Hall. As he will need to go through the next pull into the pits as he passes it next time. Grobler being 10.1 seconds behind him, with Lotus 15 seconds even further back than that. So let's see how much time this pit stop actually penalizes a driver. So I'd imagine he is going to go through now as he comes up to the pit stop entry. He's going to have to go and serve that. No? So he's going to continue. Right here, off he goes. I'm not sure how many laps he has. 2 laps remaining. So he's going to have to serve that at some point, and I'm very interested to see what this what penalty is this drive-through actually gives you. File also sitting with the drive-through, and that's with his GT4. So Grobler at the moment, basically a 9-second gap between Hall and Grobler behind him in his McLaren. So we can get another reading as they get closer to the pits. And Lotus 18 seconds behind Grobler. So I would think this would put a real dent on, if not allow Grobler to overtake him, for sure. And what that distance to Lotus would then be, he might just slot in right in front of Lotus. Not sure if he's going to now do the serve the penalty this time round, or if he's going to try and push it for another one. No, do we see him go in? Okay, so that is now roughly 9 seconds between himself and Grobler, 19.5 seconds between himself and Lotus. So remember the drive-through, he can't go through and change tyres, he literally just needs to get from one end to the other. Let me give you a view of how long this is going to be. I think I'm going to have some coffee. That is the worst sound for a driver as you're coming down here, hearing the cars scream past you. Because as we crawl through the pit stops here, and we start getting to a point where we can start accelerating again, we are now sitting with Grobler and Lotus having passed him, as well as Ramos. So that could quite easily be a 35 odd second penalty to go through there just as a pit stop. D Hall now 15 seconds behind Ramos, so I think that might be closer to a minute mile. Lewis having to serve one of those, which we've just experienced, so we might even see Lewis land up behind Visagie and Rowe. That would be rather interesting. That would be a rather interesting turn of events. Although I'm sure that there's quite a couple of laps between Lewis and the likes of Visagie and the GT4 crowd. Yeah, so in fact it is a 32.7 second penalty to go through this pit stop as Lewis serves his. Lewis essentially now at the back of the GT3 pack, and it looks like he may have decided to just pull over to the side and call it a day. Arnaud Visagie still having a field day out there with his pink and blue. Having done quite well, sitting in 16th position. of a 37 car start grid, I believe. Just under 12 minutes to go. Ramos sitting in at 9th position. Wessels still commanding that 2nd position. He pretty much held it all the way through. Great race by him. Kraus in his BMW sitting in 22nd. Just having gone through the pit stops, it seems. This is 32.7 down on his previous lap. Favo sitting in 14th position in his McLaren. Upton sitting in 11th. Rose sitting in 17th in his GT4 McLaren. I'm sure he'd love to try and practice his defending skills against the GT3 Porsche, who gives him a couple of flashes and now goes past. Grobler coming over the finish line again, having done a 2:19.557. So having done 47 laps and just under 9 minutes to go. Quite a big lap difference. Between the GT3s and the GT4s. Grobler having completed 47 and also the leader, of course, of the GT3 pack. Versace, being the leader of the GT4 pack, has completed 43 laps. So quite a number of times the leaders of the GT3 class has had to fight their way through. Johan Grobler for Jensen Team Rocket. No, that's just a straightforward normal livery team name. 7th position at the moment. Oh, sitting quite close on Nordea in his Lexus. So he's going to try and get a good exit speed out here. Both keeping it tidy. Still keeping it quite close. Nordea sitting with a drive through. Oh dear, there we go. Grobler is most certainly going to take that position. Unfortunately, whether Nordea likes it or not. Again, the importance of keeping all 4 tyres within those 2 lines. Well, at least one of them. Oh dear. As Grobler spins out, Nordea now gets past him. If Grobler maintains a reasonable distance, I think he should be all okay. In fact, I think Lotus might also be given a position. And Ramos. That drive-through is definitely going to hurt Nordea. And drop him down quite a couple of positions. Grobler now going through, going in 6th position, assuming he's going to come out either 9th or 10th. Upton now coming past the pit entry, but he's got no penalty to serve, so he'll just continue and carry on his day. Favo sitting in 14th position. Vessel sitting in 2nd position, sitting right behind him. Going to pull another lap on him. As we keep an eye on Nordea. He's still trying to crawl through there. Good luck there, buddy. As we see Lotus, Ramos, and possibly Hall now coming past. No, not Hall. Yeah, there comes Hall up through the bends, leaving unfortunately Nordea in 10th position. No, I think it may have even dropped him further, possibly 13th. With 3 minutes to go, those drive-through penalties are painful. All that hard work up front, just to drop from 6th down to possibly 12th, 13th. Isherwood still sitting in 3rd position. He's held that also for pretty much the entire race, with Rautenbach, of course, in 4th. Versace in his little funky Maserati. Maserati not found, number 404. As we go into the last 2 minutes, Kraus sitting at number 22 in his BMW. Gray in his grey Porsche. Van Coller sitting in 5th position. Sheehan in the BMW, number 46. Masters sitting in number 13. Grobler, of course, still holding that lead firmly with a 23-second lead over Wessels. Grobler in 6th. Upton in 11th. Some back markers or some traffic being overtaken. Nine seconds remaining. So JC Grobler will be on his final lap.
The leader has finished the race.
No, in fact, the leader, which I'm trying to get to, has finished the race. Well done, Mr. JC Grobler. Fantastic race. Wessels having gone over in 2nd position. Van Colin Versace having it out a bit. Oh dear, Versace going right off the road. Couple of GT4 battles happening here right at the end, till the death. So top 3 was settled. JC Grobler, Wessels, Isherwood, and we have a vehicle broadsided. Versace taking the lead there for the GT4s. Rowe coming in 2nd. And we have our final leaderboard. "51 laps completed by JC Grobler. Wessels in 2nd, Isherwood in 3rd, Rautenbach in 4th, Van Coller in 5th, and of course Versace and Rowe, as well as Sheehan taking the podium for the GT4s. There we go. That concludes the Monday night race for Spa. Rather interesting one. Nice little enduro with GT4s in the mix. Always fun to see. Sure, it was fun for all those involved. And we'll see you again, not just next week Monday, but tomorrow night for the incident reviews, because that, of course, is the only points you will get in Monday night racing.
Green light. Go, go, go.
Have a great one. Adios.